Shalom, shalom, everyone. So this class is dedicated for the Neshama of Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani, ben Rabbi Nachman Michal Nachmani, whose yortzeit is actually coming up in 2 days, the Friday, the 6th of Elul. May his Neshama have an aliyah. So the topic of this class is sorcery and witchcraft. Should we fear sorcery, magicians, witches? And the insights provided in this class are provided by the Zera Shimshon, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani, from the parsha of Shoftim. So in the parsha, there is a verse that states, Tamim tieh im Hashem Elokecha ki hagoyim ha'ele asher ata yoresh otam el me'onenim ve'el kosmim ishma'u v'ata lo chen natan lecha Hashem Elokecha. You shall be wholehearted with Hashem your God. For these nations that you are possessing, they listen to astrologers and diviners. But as for you, not so has Hashem your God given for you. So, in regards to this pasuk, our sages, bring down a midrash and they quote the Yalkut Shimoni, who brings down a verse from the book of Isaiah, saying, You are my witnesses, and I am God. And when you are not my witnesses, I'm not, as it were, your God. So according to the above verse listed in the book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu, when the nation of Israel are doing the right thing, are keeping God's commandments, they're in a righteous frame of mind, they're not afraid of whispers or magicians, as the Torah tells us from a verse in the parsha of Bamidbar, for there is no divination in Yaakov and no sorcery in Israel. Now the Zera Shimshon, he goes a bit deeper and he brings down an argument from the Gemara. This argument is between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Hanina. Rabbi Yochanan says that sorcerers or keshafim can overrule the decree of the heavenly council or the heavenly court, and they can alter a person's fate even though it was originally decreed otherwise. While Rabbi Hanina says that no man bruises his finger here on this world unless it was decreed against him in heaven. So who's right here, Rabbi Yochanan or Rabbi Hanina? And the answer is Rabbi Hanina, who we read his name in the tefillah every day. He was different from the average individual living on this world. Rabbi Hanina, he had a lot of merits going for him, and essentially sorcery couldn't harm him. So from here we see that a person who has lived a meritorious life remains out of reach of a sorcerer's and magician's power and their spells. So when the nation of Israel, we learned that when the nation of Israel has many merits, the sorcerers have no power. And it is obvious throughout the world that there is no one besides God. On the other hand, when the Jewish people and the nation of Israel are not doing well on the merit barometer, then sorcerers not only have power, but it is because of times like those that they are called keshafim in the first place, because then they have the power to combat heaven, so to speak, which causes a lack of honor to God's name in this world. This then is the depth of what the Midrash is saying when it says, when you are my witnesses, meaning when you, the nation of Israel, the Jewish people, act the way you are supposed to and fulfill the commandments, then I am God. The sorcerers have no power against you, and the concept that there is no one but God is revealed in the world. On the other hand, when we don't act the proper way and we don't serve as God's witnesses, then we, as the verse says, then I am not your God, as it were. The sorcerers become powerful, they have power over us, they can cast spells, they could do whatever. And the power of God's kingship is not recognizable in the world. So why does it work this way? Why did God make it so that when we do his good deeds, and we do keep we do righteous deeds, and we keep the mitzvot, then we are unaffected, but when we don't keep the good deeds, when we don't keep the mitzvot, then we are affected? Answers the Zera Shimshon that the forces of the kalipots and the spiritual evildoers can only grasp at the holiness from behind, but not from the front. Again, the forces of the spiritual evildoers can only grasp at the holiness from behind, but not from the front. So the Zera Shimshon, he states that there's a Kabbalistic concept where dark powers have only underhanded powers, but not direct strength against Kedusha. Again, there's a Kabbalistic concept where dark powers only have underhanded powers, but they don't have direct strength against God's holiness or against Kedusha. So when the Jews do the will of God, their divine providence operates from the front, as it says. In the light of the king's countenance is life. They are face to face, so to speak, with Hashem, and they experience divine providence directly. So when the nation of Israel is righteous, there's nothing to worry about when it comes to sorcerers or any other evil that operates in the realm of impurity, because they cannot approach anything of holiness in a direct way. This is why God instructed Abraham in the book of Genesis, and he says, "Walk before me and be perfect." Someone who trusts in God and pays no attention to all the impure forces and those who practice magic and such is called tamim. So we find in this week's parsha, the words, "You shall be tamim with Hashem," are written right next to the words, "For these nations that you are possessing. They listen to astrologers and diviners, but as for you, not so has Hashem your God given for you." It is because someone who disregards magicians and whisperers is called tamim, pure. And that is what Hashem said to Abraham. "When you walk before me, you will merit to enjoy the light of the face from the front, without having to fear any whisperers or magicians of any type." Again, this class is dedicated for the Neshama of Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani. May his Neshama have an aliyah. And until next week, Shabbat Shalom.